Hello, Master 0063, back for part 7 of I Want to Find a Cure. Last time I finally completed the Super Metroid area. It took me 3 parts to get through and got rather salty in parts 5 and 6, the second and third parts of the Super Metroid area, but yeah, that's a hell of a thing. There's actually one thing I do want to address before we move on as well. That area was actually not in the game, or not in the version that was part of the Fangame Marathon 2018, and I understand why. I completely understand why. The estimate of 3 hours for the contestants to complete it would probably have been doubled if that was in there. So yeah, that area did not actually get showcased at the Fangame Marathon. I presume it was a sort of later entry, or they decided to take it out for the purposes of doing the blind run race at the marathon, and yeah, I can see why. But yeah, as I say, I don't want to sort of dwell on my negatives too much more on that area. And I don't want to be. I don't want to come out of it feeling too negative. I feel like last couple of videos in particular, I've probably had way too much of a downer sort of on that stage. But yeah, it's just a little bit too long and a little bit out of place in this area. And I've talked about a couple of mechanics I feel that would have made that area better. But overall, there's still some fun to be had. It's just yeah. My overriding emotion is that it just feels slightly out of place, or very out of place in this style game. But anyway, that's enough about that. Let's move on to the final part of the game, the kid's house. So we've got ourselves a final boss. And as we were told right at the beginning, a washing machine will probably do. To cure our ails. And we've somehow detached the bow from us, from our hair this time. But yeah, it's turned into some freakish little thing. And yeah, we're now going to have to try and destroy the thing. So yeah, I complained a little bit. I say complained, maybe too strong a word, I don't know. But yeah, said some things about the final boss as well, sort of not feeling like it was too good, or enjoyed it too much during my first go through. But that was more so to do with the second phase. So we'll come to that when we get to it. But the first phase I thought was actually fine. Well, yeah, describe a few attacks as it's going on. But basically, he does, if I can actually get into the fight at all, he likes to spend a lot of the time at the top of the screen shooting out these random volleys of projectiles. Sometimes they sort of home in on me like this, a bit more, or home in much more closely to me like this. Sometimes they sort of just yes, he circles around and they bounce around like this, so they sort of just bounce around wherever really and not home in on me. Sometimes he'll shoot large ones that split apart on the floor, and I need to avoid those as well. It can be quite difficult to avoid all of them. They seem, for the most part, fairly random. He's got this one as well where they sort of split apart. And I'm missing my chances to hit him, so I will actually get some moments every time I defeat one of these little things. So he's done like I don't even know what to call that thing. It's like snowman or whatever. So he's done that a couple of times now. Every time you defeat one of them, he's done it again. I think he takes shaves some health off of him. So he's got three or four of these things, I think. So yeah, you see that I take some health off him now. I've got that. But one of the main ways to hit him is to shoot the yellow or orangey type of these projectiles back at him and have them damage him. So yeah, this one is actually quite good because he actually shoots out a bunch of them, and you can shoot lots of them back at him. So this is probably one of his easier ones, I'd say, one of his easier little items that he summons here. So before it was like, yeah, say a snowman, now it's a hammer. And yeah, as soon as you take out one of them, he actually, yeah, he loses some health. So keep trying to plug. Oh god, keep plugging away, hitting the. Oh, I can get that now. That's nice. Third one is the gravestone, and he shoots these little ghosts that sort of home in or slowly descend from the ceiling. They're somewhat homing, but they loop around, and it can be a bit tricky to find out or to realise exactly where they're going to go. Yeah, he then comes down to the floor where he starts shooting out projectiles in a massive spread shot pattern, and you can actually attack him physically there, as opposed to just shooting projectiles back at him. And yeah, he does have a fourth one here, this sort of bat cherry thing, which yeah, try and get an appreciation for where the gaps are going to be when he's sort of dancing around. I think that's all of his little helpers he can summon. So now it's just a case of hopefully getting one more hit in. That should do the trick, I think. Oh, we've got one more to get. We've got one more to get. Ding it. Oh, I'm going to get him with a physical... Oh, no, it's another hit. Are you joking? But I got him with a physical attack, or maybe I didn't. Maybe that was his final. Maybe it was his final hit anyway. That was an appalling description of that boss. Apologies for that, but that actually went by amazingly quickly. I say I don't really have too much of a problem with his first phase. The problem is the second phase, and yeah, again, I feel like I need to say the apologies there for the sort of terrible description of all the moves. I didn't really get a lot of time spent on that phase of the boss to actually describe all the moves, but yeah, here's my big problem with the final boss. This second phase. I don't know. Again, I don't think this is just a me thing with like problems with like, problems with my eyesight and things like that. Because basically, we've still got this bow, warped this mecha bow thing. He summons a whole bunch of attacks, mainly like bits of fruit and such like that. After a certain point in time, after the attack's finished, he'll produce this little spike little thing that comes. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, let's just go with spike thing. Spike vine. Let's just say that, and a switch to activate it. And when you hit the switch, you've got to be quite careful about your timing. It also doesn't work unless he's actually falling down for some reason. The hitbox there doesn't quite recognise there. But yeah, you have to shoot or fling the spike vine back at him, which is the time-wise can sometimes be a thing. After 3 hits, he changes things up, and now the attacks get a little bit more dangerous. They're a bit quicker, and the platforms, and we start descending a bit slower. But here's my big problem with this. Sometimes this feels very much just completely like RNG, like for example there, where I royally feel like I got screwed over, to the point where sometimes platforms just don't appear. Look at that one, for example. There was one platform that seemingly appeared right at the beginning that was on the left-hand side of the screen. Like here, there's no platform in sight. I've chosen wrong again, by the look of it, and I got lucky because another platform happened to materialise here. But the platforms are just, like, really hard to see, or there aren't that many of them, and sometimes you feel like you can just get absolutely dicked over to the point where there is literally nothing you can do or nowhere you can go. And I find it very hard to see what's going on the lower half of the screen. It looks like it's like darker down there, and some of the sort of the vines and whatnot are sort of obscuring stuff, which is fine to a point, but I need to know where I'm going. The platforms sometimes just do not seem to appear very much at all. Like there's huge gaps between them, and as I say, if you can't see a platform to stand on, wow, just lovely there, just perfect. Completely terrible attack, or not a terrible attack in its entirety per se, but a terribly timed attack there. Or just the worst possible move there while I'm in the middle of trying to jump from one platform to another platform that's a mile away. But yes, you just get cornered all over the place, and honestly this feels very much just like RNG. If I'm going to get a good run, I'm going to get a good run. If I'm going to get a terrible run where the platforms are just not in the right position, or you do an attack that's just just covers the screen right where I'm standing, and the fruit just goes in a horrible pattern, then I've got nowhere to go. I genuinely feel like moving from platform to platform can be quite tricky, and because there are a lot of platforms, and if they just happen to be on the opposite side of the screen, or indeed not there at all, and you can't even see where I'm going, I can't see where I'm going very well, then yeah, it just becomes a hell of a thing. Even more so during the second part of, yeah, by the way, he's got a hitbox, so yeah, not the sort of tentacles or whatever, but the bow itself is a hitbox. So I could, if I'm always in a pinch, I can. Although it's hard to recognise in the heat of the battle at that point in time. But yeah, I can clip through his sort of tentacles or whatever like that. I just can't hit the bow. But honestly, and I feel like most of this, frankly, this rest of this part or this boss fight is going to be just yeah, more or less. One, not giant rant, because I'm hoping I'll calm down in a little while and maybe talk about his attacks a bit more. But yeah, I feel like I just get dicked over by the platforms just not appearing, or appearing in positions that make it hard to reach them. And I really do struggle with what is going on the bottom of the screen in terms, like, this attack is okay when you've got lots of room to dodge it, but when you haven't, that attack is really freaking annoying. As I said, after you get him 3 hits, he then starts speeding up, and we get that laser attack, which, by the way, destroys the platform. So if your platforms just happen to be in a terrible position, or like all concertinaed on one side of the screen, and he chooses to do that laser attack on that side of the screen, you've pretty much got nowhere to go. We haven't seen this attack yet. It's taken quite a while to do it, but yeah, he sends out the protruding vines from the sides of the screen. It's probably one of the easier ones to avoid, frankly, because it gives you a bit of a tell, or you can clearly see where they're going to appear. So I do feel like that one's probably one of the most telegraphed attacks of the lot. In theory, if without the descending bit and the fact that I sometimes can't see the platforms, the ones where the fruit just come up vertically from below would be kind of nice, but just unfortunately not in this setting, where, as I say, you're moving down, or the screen is scrolling. I'm going to get hit here. Oh my god, I got away somehow. That was lucky. But yeah, you're moving down, and if they shoot, look at that, for example. They're going to destroy all those platforms. Am I going to land safely? I am. I got lucky there. I'll freely admit I got lucky. The platforms that were sort of initially on screen are the ones that I would be aiming for there. The only ones I could see were on the left-hand side of the screen. You chose to... Oh, blast it. I mistimed that. Yeah, the vines on the second phase don't go horizontally. They go in... Well, possibly sometimes they do, but they tend to go diagonally. That attack's actually kind of annoying, but that setup was perfectly fine given where the platforms were. That was just awful because the thing was going like diagonally upwards to the left, and I had to like recognise that immediately and literally gone for my attack straight away. Because yeah, there was just by the time I got down to where the switch was, you were well out of sight. That's probably going to get me. Oh, it didn't get me. Lovely. That one looks better. Yeah, got that one. Okay. But yeah, I've got a thing. Okay, that one shouldn't be destroyed. I should be fine there. But yeah, if I could have just been, I feel like I got completely dicked over there with where that laser was going to be, which platforms it destroyed. But I got lucky and was able to save myself at the end because yes, one more hit I think, because a platform just happened to appear on the left hand in view, or not necessarily in view. I had to take a leap of faith really and just pray. But yeah, it worked out. And that is going to be really flipping annoying with one hit to go. Blair. But all the platforms that, I mean... okay, fair enough. I'm not expecting to beat this boss like dead easy, and I feel like it might be there's a case for saying, well, we don't want to make the boss too easy. But that last go there, I feel like I did really well. Obviously, I had him down to his last hit there, and I genuinely feel like that was awful on about 100 different counts. I genuinely feel like the platforms just did not create. Yep, screwed over by the platforms there. Chose to go left first off. There was one platform on the right, and that seemed about it. But yeah, that go where I got him down to one hit left. Yeah, all the platforms were just sort of in a grouping in the middle, and he did the attack where the fruit sort of circles around him and circles around and homes it. Yeah, I think it was this one, which again, arcing homing projectiles, just never my favourite ever, no matter what the set of circumstances. But I think of that one. Let's go back to that one. I couldn't see the platform appear until pretty much the last moment, at which point in time he did this attack. The fruit prevented me from going in a particular way, or falling off a platform on one particular side, so I felt like I had to... I've shot that way too early, ding it. I felt like I had to muck around on the platforms there, but because I mucked around on the platform that was too high up, I just ran right into him. So again... I mean, first off, right at the beginning, I've not had a long fight, so I'm not overly devastated by getting hit after the first 3 seconds. Although it looks obviously like a pathetic attempt, but it feels like a little bit of the luck of the draw. Obviously, there's skill involved in dodging his attacks, but I genuinely feel like the rate at which the platforms spawn in can be very irritating. Sometimes it feels like you really are left with nowhere to go, and yeah, I cannot see them very well because of all the tentacles and the sort of different discoloration at the bottom. Particularly, as I say, this attack. If ordinarily this one would be one of my favourite attacks for this boss, because just generally that move in itself is usually pretty easy to dodge. Where are my platforms here? Thankfully one appeared, but not in this context where, oh god, that was close. But yeah, not in this situation where they're coming from below, and I can't really see what's going on. Oh, I'm gonna be. No, I got it. I did get it. Yeah, just about got it. I've got that going in time. Look, all the platforms over there were concentrated on just on that little narrow area of the screen there, and that's where the laser was. So, fortunately, another platform appeared. On the more toward the left-hand side of the screen. I was able to get out of the way, but yeah. Dick placement of the platforms and the laser. And look at that attack there. I somehow survived because the platform just happened to magically appear there where I needed it. So yeah, got some good luck there. I'll freely accept that. I'll gladly take that. But you did an attack where I couldn't see which way to go right at the beginning. Oh, sorry. No platform sort of appeared immediately in view at the beginning. You seemed to take an eternity for the next safe spot to appear, and you did like the laser attack where you cut off a portion of the screen. So I couldn't see which way to go. You cut off the half of the screen where I needed to go because that's where the platform appeared. Anyway. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not like this part of the fight. Phase 1 of this final boss was fine, but I did not particularly enjoy phase 2. It just felt like too much RNG. Admittedly, only 6 hits, and I missed that somehow to jump the gun apparently with the with firing that. Lovely. The last thing I want to do is miss my hits because this goes on for long enough, and like there. I mean, frankly, I should have probably just abandoned the idea of hitting him there because the switch was at a height where the platform, you were like directly above it, and it didn't seem to matter where I was going to go. You were automatically going to, when you descended, you were going to pretty much cover the entire width of the platform, and there would have been no safe spot to stand on to hit the switch. So what I probably should have done there, frankly, was just abandon the plan to hit the switch there. Wow, that was clumsy. Yeah, like I said, not a fan of this boss, and unfortunately, while I certainly did enjoy the majority of the game, and I still think it's really not low enough to hit that switch. Fine. While I did enjoy the vast majority of the game, first time through, the Metroid area coupled with this as the final boss, or this phase, the second phase of the final boss, just left with a slight down on the game as a whole, but I still enjoyed it. 90% of it. I still wanted to do a let's play of it. I honestly felt like I knew this final boss was going to tick me off because, again, RNG. Frankly, it's either going to go well or it's not. But I honestly did feel like the Metroid, I would have done better on the Metroid area, or it wouldn't have got me quite as I wouldn't got quite as annoyed as I did with the Metroid area second time round, knowing where the upgrades were and knowing a bit better about where I was going to go. But unfortunately, some of the fact of the backtracking that I ended up having to do there again just made me like, where was I supposed to go there? I know the platform here in the bottom left, but the platform on the top right was going into this freakish bow demon thing. The one platform that was there was the tentacle thing vine that was sticking out from the left hand side. There was literally no safe spot until the other platform appeared, but by which point in time it was too late for me to realise where it was going to be. Dicked over. And the fact you've got to hit this thing 6 times, I'm not saying I feel like I need to get freakishly lucky 6 times, to dodge 6 attacks in order to beat this boss, but yeah, there's certainly going to be a dose of luck on my successful run here, which makes it slightly all more annoying that I didn't beat it that go where I had you down to 1 health. That would have been done in a very quick amount or a very short amount of time, and I could have saved myself from all this. Admittedly, it wouldn't have got the fun of describing all his attacks, which I still haven't done yet. I'm going to start doing that maybe a bit more now. Although, frankly, most of them are pretty much just self-explanatory. This one is sort of... Honestly, the attacks feel... None of them in themselves are that bad, but it really just does depend on where the platforms are. If you can find platforms where you can get miles away from the attacks, or indeed... I jumped the gun! Or indeed just actually attacking the boss with that spike, because the platforms are miles away from where he's going to descend, then fine, no problem with most of these attacks. But where that isn't possible, they can all be a giant pain in the neck. So the one that comes up from the floor, in particular, annoys me perhaps more than any other one, because, as I say, ordinarily I would enjoy that attack, or I would like having to deal with that attack, but just not in this setting, not in this setting, unfortunately. Because okay, where's my platform? I mean, I do feel like the platforms, oh god, they are more of them, and they do sort of spawn in faster. I'd say during his sort of second part of this phase. When he starts getting faster, but all of his attacks happen faster, and they seem to go on for longer as well. So there's obviously that payoff, or that trade-off. Sorry, not payoff, trade-off. Have to worry about. I'm also kind of conscious about not wanting to sort of suffer what I consider to be a stupid death by lingering at the top of the screen too long and actually just running into the bloody thing. I feel like I want to get down a lot quicker, but that probably makes me ultimately try and pull off manoeuvres that perhaps I shouldn't. So there's a lot of praying to RNGs in this fight. Who knows? I could just be doing a terrible time on this boss. So and some of his attacks are just perhaps not the one, not ones that I would necessarily like. I don't know, but just didn't end the game for me first time round on a particularly high note, which was a shame, because other than the Metroid area as well, it's a fantastic game. So here's hoping it doesn't take me as long as it did first time around. And again, obviously knowing all of his attacks and knowing a bit more about perhaps manoeuvres and some strategies. I missed the bloody thing. Should make this go better, but ultimately, who knows? I could have got very lucky. Well, I can tell you right now, I did get lucky on the run. I completed this on my first time, no doubt about it. I'm going to get lucky on any run. So if I just happen to get lucky in terms of the timing first time off, this could end up taking me considerably longer than it did before. Platform, please. That's sort of okay, given where they've. That was sort of okay until the last one, and then the last one, what literally looked like the last cherry there, last piece of fruit, came hurtling at me just when I was about to go for the switch and screwed me over. So Did I get him? I did get you. Good. I'm just trying to think in terms of attacks, which one, I'll go back to what I've just said, really. I don't feel like any of the attacks in and of themselves are too annoying. It just depends on the environment at the time. So I must admit the circling sort of homing one is probably my least favourite, just because in terms of the feeling about how to deal with those types of movements anyway, I'm never sort of the best at recognising, where. I've jumped the gun there, lovely. Where safe spots are going to be. Straight projectiles are easy to predict, let's put it that way. But I do sometimes have a hell of a time with arcing stuff, or swirling stuff, whatever. The one from the floor is okay, provided I've got platforms around. The vine one from the side isn't too bad on the first phase. I don't particularly like it in the second phase because it goes on for a lot longer. There are more of them, and they come in quicker succession as well. So sometimes it just feels like you haven't quite got the room that you had first time around. So I don't mind that attack in the first half of this boss, but second half I'd really rather not see that one. But I'm just sort of wondering what attacks I would like to see, funnily enough. I wouldn't actually mind, although it is dependent on the platforms again, so maybe and maybe not. The one where he sort of does the sort of what looks like the laser kind of one. Or not, I say laser, it's just sort of... Did manage to get that, nice. The one where the cherries sort of come out in a long line, and then, this one. So then they spawn out. Because that one, if you've got a good platform set up and you can get away from it, is pretty easy to dodge, frankly. I jumped the gun and missed it. That was lovely. Or not lovely. That one is easy if you've got the platforms spread apart nicely. If you haven't, it can be absolutely ridiculous and sometimes nigh on impossible to avoid. But ultimately the whole thing to me really just boils down to, the platform's going to be kind. Am I going to get a nice move based on where the platforms are? This is not really the attack I wanted to see. And I jumped the gun. I do not want to be jumping the gun in his second half of this fight. First half is, I still don't want to be doing it, but it's, you know, you don't get to the difficult bits or the much more difficult bit. So, for goodness sake, don't miss in the second half. Although, as I said, easier said than done, because the vines themselves are not straight. So again, here, or horizontal. So here it's much easier, although I'm still missing from time to time. Again, probably a little bit dependent on where the platforms are and whether I can nicely attack or hit the switch at the right time. But say with the other ones being like, you know, diagonal, sometimes all over the place, it can be a little bit more off-putting to time-wise to actually hit him. So yeah, do not want to be missing. So for example, this attack, I mean, they split apart very nicely there anyway. That would have been very bad if I, or it could have been much better if I had a platform. Oh god, don't destroy that one. If I had a platform on the right-hand side, because I could have got miles away from it. As it was, thankfully, these splits weren't so bad anyway. But thank you for that. Completely dicked over, I feel like there. Wanted to make my move to the platforms that were on the left-hand side. Cherry from below. That was lucky. I could do with that kind of luck when I'm not, you know. Okay, and then not lucky there. I could do with that kind of luck when I'm like down to, you know, maybe a bit further in the fight than on like, you know, no hits at all at that point in time. So yeah, great. If you're going to give me luck, please make it a bit later on in the fight. Lost my train of thought from what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I did getting dicked over there. Yeah, I was making my way down to a platform on the left hand side. Had to backtrack because I feel like the pattern of the fruit there was such that I couldn't make the jump. Backtracked and still got screwed over by the next cherry that came flying along. So yeah, not really sure, other than not making that move in the first place, what I was supposed to do to avoid that. Platforms and position of the platforms and the pattern of the attack was just screwed me over there. Not sure there was too much I could have done to react to that. And while that's all well and good to a certain degree, that was just terrible. Although that's all well and good to a certain degree, in a boss fight, I honestly, I'm covering old ground, and I can't feel like I'm saying anything. I couldn't feel like I'm saying anything new here, but just relies way too much on the luck of the draw for me, as well as coupled with the fact that I do find it genuinely difficult to see what's going on at the bottom of the screen. Presumably that is the case for everybody, but maybe I do find it more so than just possibly. But yeah, I don't know whether it's the coloration or whatnot, but I find it difficult to appreciate where the platforms are going to be, and in particular the fruit from underneath, that it can be a right raw pain to see where the hell they're actually coming up from the ground from. But oh my god, that was no excuse for that. I was miles away from the enemy. It was like flat on the platform. There was literally no excuse for not hitting that at all. I don't know. Yeah, that was just terrible. So this one, for example, I actually had to jump a little bit, I think, in order to hit the platform there. Platform would be nice, okay, and didn't get screwed over by the laser there or anything. But yeah, no, the previous go there was just terrible. So here we go. No, I feel like that's kind of nice there. I feel like the platforms a bit later on weren't much of a help there, but the first part of that attack was actually nice. You split the lasers apart really quite wide. I'm going to get dicked over here. Yeah, there were platforms in the middle that I could go to, so that was nice. Oh wow, I have no complaints about that attack. At that point in time, that was nice. Although again, as I said, if the platforms weren't in the middle and they were all on one side of the screen or whatnot, that could have been a terrible attack. But the platforms were kind to me there, so kudos for that. Or thumbs up for that one. But yeah, the next attack, I'm not going to say I got completely dicked over, but yeah, it was one of the ones that were coming up from the floor. I couldn't really see where the fruit was coming from, and yeah, just so happened that I didn't get very lucky there. But ultimately, that feels like 3/4 of this fight. Okay, yeah, I mean, look at that. You did the laser on the left-hand side of the screen, all the platforms were on the right-hand side of the screen, tons of time to react to it, no problem whatsoever. Happy with that. No problem whatsoever. And no problem with that either. The laser was kind of there. There were some platforms over on the left-hand side, and the laser was on the right-hand side. So, yeah, again, no real problem with that. That one was a little bit silly on my part, but still, I don't know why I needed to get dicked over there on what literally looked like the last piece of fruit for that attack. So I could have done without that, thank you, but oh well. Who would have thought I'd missed that for a minute, or I thought I'd gone a bit too late. See, that's not very nice, is it? That's not very nice. and literally all damage the position of the platforms. You did a laser right in the middle. There were only two platforms I could see on screen. Both of them were right in the bloody middle. Laser in the middle. I don't think that one will be destroyed. So yeah, fine. No complaints about that. Not the best of attacks, if I'm being honest. They also seem to vary in length a little bit now. I swear that attack previously lasted far less time. I think that one's not going to be... Oh, it is going to be destroyed, but I had another platform I could land on. That was okay. That was nice. That's not so bad, because again the platforms were kind. Can I get some nice RNG here? Yes, but I got lucky. You can clearly see there that and I got unlucky there. Thanks. You can clearly see that there were pretty much no platforms on screen when I was falling down to see a safe spot. So I had to rely on, just staying in the air for about as long as I possibly could, to maximise the opportunity, obviously, for more platforms to appear, and just hope that I landed on one. Because without that little bit of luck there, I'd have been completely screwed. But ultimately, didn't matter, did it? Because you screwed me over a little bit, or very much so, with the next attack. So yeah, good luck followed up immediately by a large dose of bad luck. Fantastic. And again, the fact that he was one hit away from I was one hit away from doing this, makes that all the more annoying. Laser in the middle. I don't think that one was going to be destroyed. But again, look how little or how few platforms were on screen there. In order for me to be able to move and see where I was supposed to go there. It was silly. Okay, laser on the left will be good. Thank you. I feel like to some degree the laser is sort of a little bit dependent on where you were at the time he sort of is planning to sort of screw you. Literally screw you. Where you were positioned when he was sort of gearing up the attack. So ideally I'd like to avoid being in the middle, for example. Although again, it's very dependent on the platforms. If all the platforms in the middle, I've got no option. If all the platforms on the left-hand side of the screen, then I'm going to have to be on the left-hand side of the screen. But yeah, if the platforms are all sort of tightly packed and concentrated in one half of the screen, then unfortunately that's probably where the laser's going to be. And of course, that means it's going to destroy all the sodding platforms. So, need some good luck. Like here, for example, I feel like the laser is now going to be on the left-hand side of the screen because that's where I was positioned when we were sort of gearing that up. And thankfully, there were some platforms that were on the right-hand side, which meant I could get out of its way. That's terrible. Terrible timing for that move. Literally terrible timing. And yeah, like I said, I don't want to see that move because there are more of those vines. They come out quicker. Jump the gun with the thing. At least it was in the first phase and it was the first hit, so I don't feel like if I die now it's a whole bunch of time or a whole bunch of effort on this go wasted. But still, no real excuse for missing that. But it's easy to do. It's seriously easy to do because he sort of hovers at the top of the screen for a little bit before plummeting down. So dependent on on the height of the platform. I mean, that's not very nice, but they've all split apart really, really nicely there. Depending on the height of the platform, sometimes you have to jump, or sometimes you might have to. It feels like he's going to drop down, like right directly over you, because that's where the platform is to hit the switch. It can be, you'd think it would be dead easy just to hit, time out and hit the switch, but it's not always the case. And it can be at different. I've missed it there. That was. I felt like that was silly, but they can be at different vertical positions as well. So sometimes they're a bit higher up, which means you probably need to get ready to, attack a bit sooner than you perhaps than otherwise would. Sometimes they're a bit lower, so you have to wait a bit longer for him to attack. So yeah, and again that could completely depend on where the platforms are. So I feel like the timing isn't really too bad, and I feel like I shouldn't be moaning about that per se too much. In the grand scheme of things, it's what it's if I'm going to moan about anything in this boss, it's not going to be the timing out and the delay on actually hitting him. Although it does cause a lot of frustration and annoyance when I miss. But yeah, that's not the thing that pisses me off about this boss. And to be honest, I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to go for another. I'll probably go for the next go where I end up doing really well. At that point in time, frankly, I'm probably just going to cut to the successful run. At this point in time, I think I've gone through pretty much all of these attacks. I don't have anything else to say other than literally ranting about the positioning of the platforms, or the patterns of the attacks. The RNG of that screwing me over. So didn't really feel like I want to be cutting on this game because I don't feel like it really warrants it, but frankly, yeah, I've run out of things to say on this RNG-based boss, yeah, it's probably so you destroyed all my platforms, okay, and I was able to reach another one, so that was fine. You seem to have a penchant for doing this attack on this second phase, which can be really freaking annoying because, as I say, he won't do it now. One thing I do seem to notice is he doesn't seem to do the same attack platform. Doesn't seem. I don't know if this is actually ever the case, but he never seems to do the same attack twice in a row. So that's something you can at least sort of be prepared for. Screw you! That probably should have been the go there where I cut, but no. Well, I'm in the middle of a train of thought and I'm still ranting, so let's continue on a little bit. Platform. Yes, but so I saved myself, but nowhere near the switch there. So, yeah. Again, first hit though, so not exactly too galling. And I completely lost my train of thought for where I was anyway. I must have been presumably in the middle of a rant on something. Oh no, sorry, attacks. Yeah, he never seems to do the same move attack. So, for example, if I survive this one, he won't do this. He won't do this circling, arcing, homing one. Next time, it'll be either the ones from the floor, or the vines from the side, or the laser attack. Okay, so or another one. So a slightly different one where they spawn in, but I don't think it's quite the same. I don't think it's quite the same one. If it was, then completely take back my entire thing there about no attacks twice in a row. Platform that's going to be destroyed. But yeah, it certainly feels like that anyway. Okay, so we've got the vines from the sides. Stop. So you shouldn't do that one now. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Ideally, that would have been a good attack, and I felt like actually the platforms sort of were a help there, but at the end of the day, the platform I had to stand on that was in the middle, away from the lasers, ended up being quite close to him. Went the wrong way there, screwed over immediately. Yeah, ended up being quite close to the concentration of the laser. Went the wrong way there again, probably screwed over again. I mean, that's just stupid. That is literally stupid. There are so many things wrong with this. I really feel like this is putting a downer on this, like, let's play, and as it did indeed, like the first time I played it through, but. God, there is so much frustration with the Super Metroid area, the last area, and this part of the boss. I do not like this phase of the boss at all. Just pisses me off next to no end because of RNG. But yeah, no, the two laser thing. It looked like it started out quite nicely, but the platforms just effectively grouped together, and the split apart of that fruit felt literally ridiculous. And I got screwed over there. Lovely. Just lovely. Laser destroyed the platforms I needed, and no platform appeared on the right-hand side of the screen where I was positioned. So, yeah, screwed over. But no, the way they split apart was just stupid. They literally... Sometimes they sort of fan out and go off to the off sideways, away from where you are. But they didn't do that at that time. They decided they were going to converge on themselves and home in and pretty much go right at me. So, yay. Literally nowhere to go there. Royally screwed over. Yeah, okay. Next time I get to the second fate... Are you kidding me? Are you literally kidding me? Next time I get to the second half and then die, that'll be it, and I'll cut there until the successful run, because I haven't got another video in me to talk about this. So, and this will have gone on probably the next time I get there, maybe a good another 5 minutes or so, 2 minutes or 3 minutes for a successful run, and then, you know, credits, thoughts on the game and such like that. I'm so disappointed it sort of ends like, and this Let's Play is almost ending like this, because I've been so happy and upbeat during like the first 3 parts, and even part 4, probably the first part of the Metroid area wasn't like so bad. But after that, parts 5, 6, the last 2 parts of the Metroid area, and this part here, it's just been what almost feels like one rant after another. Because it was unfortunately just such a sort of not a good way for me to end this game. As I say, not to say that it's not still not nicely designed and everything like that. I actually can't believe I survived that, by the way. I feel like the platforms there were absolutely ridiculous, but I somehow managed to avoid the attack. What are you actually doing? I couldn't even see what move you were doing there. I got you, didn't I? Okay. All the platforms in the middle. Please don't destroy that one on the left. Please don't... Oh, you did destroy the one on the left. There's a platform there. Okay. Please, a nice move. It's the one from the floor. And if I get dicked over by one I can't see coming, I'm going to be pissed off. Yeah, cutting. Freaking annoying. Okay. Just because I can now claim not to have cut anything. I'm looking at the time on my dictaphone. That was less than 3 minutes after I cut. So you know what? I might just upload all of that and put some sort of thing in the comments or something to say that I didn't need to cut that. Because I don't know whether just being able to concentrate more on that. We can ditch the bow in the bin now. whether you know, concentrating just more but not constantly talking or indeed ranting. Probably ranting there. It really didn't help me too much. But yeah, I feel like I had a run where I got some nice RNG, frankly. And yeah, literally 3 minutes after I cut. So yay, that's the game. What a downer, sort of a downer to end it on. But yeah, while the credits go, I'm so gutted that it's again sort of turned out like this, because I'm not quite as much, admittedly, but I'm feeling pretty much, you know, or somewhere on a par as to how I felt when I first did this. The first 6 areas were amazing, so we're seeing them all here. So Super Mario Bros. 3, Mega Man X, Cuphead, The End Is Nigh, Bit Runner 2, or Bit Trap Runner 2, Celeste. They were phenomenal. I had so much fun and enjoyed this game so much during that, both first time around and during this Let's Play. And then my enjoyment levels just nosedived off a cliff when I got a fair way through the Metroid area, and it just started annoying me because there was nowhere. I didn't feel like I knew where to go. Even this time around, knowing a bit more where I need to go. The save points are so sporadically placed apart that you make an awful lot of progress. And then it's all taken away because you could lose all your HP, and then that final boss, just that second phase, which just feels so much like RNG, and I get screwed over time and time again, and there's nothing I can do about it on my end. Is just incredibly frustrating, and it was just such a. It slows down enormously for this. I don't know why it's slowing down for this. I mean, admittedly, it's not okay. Yeah, not quite sure what was going on there. Admittedly, it was transitioning out of the Celeste area, which was the one that was causing the slowdown before. But no, I'm not sure why it did. I'm not sure why it did that. Yeah, as I say, I'm disappointed from this Let's Play perspective, because I can tell after the first 3 parts, and probably even after part 4, I don't think I'd quite got. I'd aired some of my frustrations ultimately with that Super Metroid area, but I hadn't really experienced it at that point in time in the Let's Play in terms of like having to backtrack massively. I was, I got a lot of upgrades, so I feel like I'd made some decent progress. But the next 2 parts after that, so yeah, first 4 parts, no real problem at all. But parts 5 and 6, I was just getting super pissed off, super salty in the Super Metroid area, because I was, doing a lot of things. I felt like I was doing a lot of things and having all that progress taken away from me because I died before I could reach a save point. And yeah, that second phase of the final boss once again. Admittedly, it's still only taken, I feel like, 45 minutes or so. Just looking at sort of my in-game timer, so which I suppose I can I'll show off if it will let me go back to the opening screen. So yeah, there is the Kid House, and yeah, that's all the way through. Let's just backtrack all the way through the areas. Why the hell not? Just for the sake of it. So yeah, I'll show the save select screen again, so we can show you the stats. Death-wise, actually not too bad. Time-wise, again, maybe not too bad. I've done considerably better than I did. Than I did obviously first time around, but again, yeah, not blind this time. So let's go to the select screen, so you can see here, yeah, 336 deaths. I had almost 1,000 previously, and just shy of 5 hours, whereas it took me just shy of 8.5 hours the previous time. So yeah, I think, again, as it sort of happened, at least half the time in total, if not more, was spent purely on parts 4, 5, 6 and 7 of this Let's Play, so the Super Metroid area and that final boss, which, as I say, just feels like too much RNG. It didn't I say 45 minutes or so, is not bad for a final boss of a game, but I'm just going back to run my Let's Play if I want to run the marathon, and how sort of quick and simple and fun the final boss on that one was. That one just... It's just not very fun, unfortunately for me. Just no, didn't enjoy it too much at all. And I'd say, unfortunately, coming off the back of the Super Metroid area as well, it just leaves a slight, downer on for me, I guess, on the game as a whole. Given that all the enjoyment is all the enjoyment for me is at the beginning, and unfortunately, there's far less enjoyment at the end. But at the end of the day, I still enjoy this Let's Play for the most part. The frustration was sort of consigned to some very specific areas. That final boss and a few occasions, I guess, on the Super Metroid area. But it's a phenomenally designed game. If you have no real issue, particularly with the Super Metroid area, I'd say, and you like the Metroidvania. I love the Metroidvania. I want to be the Overlord. It's one of my favourite. I want to be fan games of all time. However many I play from now on. That one will be very near the top, if not, near the top of the favourite list, and probably almost at the very top of the best list. It's a phenomenal game, and that thing's entirely built about Metroidvania. But as I say, more save points around, more the ability to warp between, teleport points, and the fact that it's in its own game, as opposed to having that sort of set up in this sort of homage game where it doesn't quite fit as well. That's not frustrating. The Super Metroid area in this game, unfortunately, is frustrating and goes on too long for my liking. But as I say, still phenomenally designed game. Slightly disappointed the Let's Play sort of going to end on that note, but well, I don't want to be too much of a downer. I did enjoy this largely and for the most part. A little bit of frustration at the end, or a lot of frustration at the end. But yeah, things like RNG and getting screwed over in bosses where I feel like there's nothing much I can do annoys me next to no end. But yeah, I'll leave it there. If my upload schedule is what I think it is going to be, then I'm presuming Pokemon Ash Grey is probably finished or just about to finish at this point in time. And then I will be getting into Celeste, because I say again, apologies again for the lack of all the sort of slowdown experienced on the Celeste area in this game. But to somewhat make up for it. Although frankly, that wasn't the reason I was going to do it. I freaking love Celeste. That's the 99% of the reason why I'm doing it. I will be doing a Let's Play of Celeste, and yes, that should be awesome. Looking forward to that immensely. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks to everyone who worked on this game. 90% of it was really a lot of fun. Whatever comes, Celeste will be coming next, so I hope you will join me for that. But until then, cheerio.